on you right now. He says you're a lucky man.
We are recording.
All right, everybody ready to go tonight?
You bet.
All right, let's get this show on the road. This is the Suamico Village Board meeting for Monday, November 3rd, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. At this time, I would like to call the meeting to order, and just a reminder, anyone who comes forward to speak, please speak into the microphone, provide your name and address for the public record if you would. So at this time, looking at the agenda, I would ask for a motion to approve the evening's agenda. Is there a motion to approve the evening's agenda?
Motion to approve?
I have a motion from trustee Andrews, seconded by trustee McKeefery. Excellent. Any other further questions or discussion on the agenda that's before us this evening? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the evening's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we are off to item number 5 this evening. This is public appearances. This is for anyone in the audience who is here and would like to share any thoughts that they have on an item that is not on the agenda. If you are here for an item on the agenda, we'll do everything we possibly can to give you an opportunity to speak to it. If you would like, sir, just come forward, provide your name and address, and tell us what's on your mind. Thanks for coming.
Anytime.
Be careful what you ask for.
My name is Robert Meyer, M-A-Y-E-R. I live at 1899 Riverside Drive, Unit D as in dog. Want to make a statement, and then I have a question for the board. Okay? Basically, the question concerning is the procedure used for real estate tax in the village and how it compares to different segments of the village. I live in a condo, as is noted by the Unit D. Since 2019 to 2020, in the 1 year, my assessed value went up 38.3%. Again, the assessed value that I just got for this year in 2025 went up 53.7%, the assessed value. You have an addendum that states on there, well, look at the rate. The rate may mean it didn't go up, but it did. It went up another almost 6%. And I want to relate to how it affects the people in the condo. You don't repair our roads. You don't replace our roads. You don't snowplow our roads. You don't pay for our utility lights, the street lights, or the repair of them. But yet, I have to pay an additional approximately $1,000 a year for the snow plowing and that stuff, which technically would be added to my real estate tax. So even though the values of everything in Suamico went up, and they will go up, I don't know as we're be treated equal. You can look at the sales of the houses, or the condos and the houses. Yes, the value did go up because everything was undervalued before everything was reassessed several years back. But I don't believe they went up that fast. Unless you stuck a lot of money into your building, be it a home or a condo, you don't get the value back. One condo I know sold for a little more than mine was assessed for. It's an end unit. But they stuck $30,000 into it over the last couple of years. Another one that did not stick anything into it sold for just about $20,000 less than the assessed value. So my question is, are you going to continue to do reassess or assess value increase each year to cover what the cost is coming to the village? And will it be, you take consideration of the things you do not do to the condo units that you do not do for us, and we have to pay additionally? That's my question. I just want you to take that into consideration. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a different, just a quick question for me, is there a different formulation on condo properties than there is on regular properties
For their taxes?
for taxes?
No, it's all the same tax rate. State statute wouldn't allow you to change based on
It's the same.
class.
Okay, so it is the same tax rate?
Did you say the state wouldn't allow you?
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
there's nobody out there in the state of Wisconsin that's charging a different tax rate for a condo versus a non-condo property.
And just in terms of reassessment, just for public awareness, right? We don't arbitrarily do reassessments whenever we wish to. We are mandated by the state to do reassessments on a periodic basis when the overall value of our community sinks below a certain level.
Plus or minus 10% of the equalized value, correct? 100% equalized value.
Okay. All right, so, and we just did a reassessment, so hopefully it'll be a few years before we have to do another reassessment.
Yeah, it's been 5 years since we did the last one, and before that it was 11 years. So the rate of inflation from 2009 to 2020 was far less than it was in the last 5 years, and I think we've all experienced that.
And I guess the last question I have, just one more question on this. Is there any difference in terms of when we look at the services provided, a residential dwelling versus a condo dwelling, in the sense that they are paying for their own lights and snowplow and?
Yeah, it's up to the assessor to decide if that's impactful enough. I mean, we still need to provide snowplow removal to get to your condo development. We still need to charge you for police services and fire services. So there's not a whole lot of differential between a condo and a non-condo when it comes to where your tax dollars are going.
Okay. So my last piece of advice I would offer you, sir, is yearly we have a board of review. So there's a board of review this commission has to convene. And if there's individuals like yourself who feel like the assessment was unfair for any reason, that's an opportunity for you to come forward and make that case here and have that reviewed. And you have the assessor here who you can question on the spot about why has my value gone up X, Y, and Z. And then, sometimes if you make the case, and it's a quasi-judicial hearing, and it's very specific in terms of the evidence that has to be provided, but it looks at comparable values and et cetera, et cetera. That's really your opportunity as an owner of any property in the village of Suamico to come forward and contest your assessment.
Yeah, I wish they'd put the assessor's phone number and name when they sent that letter out. They didn't.
Okay, duly noted. All right, thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else who cares to speak at a public hearing? No? All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. This evening, the consent agenda contains previous minutes of the village board dated October 20th, 2025. The item B is the September 2025 fire report. And I have the rec report crossed out, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we only have items A and B, previous minutes of the village board, and the September 2025 fire report. Are there questions or discussion on the consent agenda? If there are none, I would look for a motion on the consent agenda to approve or deny. I will offer a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from trustee Andrews. Any other further questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, items A and B, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Okay, item number 7 this evening is administration items. Item 7A is the order for street dedication, Deerfield Court. Administrator Kaker, if you would.
Thank you. So as you are all aware, we're looking to construct Deerfield Court in 2026. Part of that project, we do need additional right-of-way for the cul-de-sac bulb. That would require additional right-of-way on both the north and south ends of Deerfield Court. Our attorney has drafted a order for street dedication that would make that happen, and the developer has reviewed it, has no comments or concerns. I would wait to execute this, if approved, until the actual bids are approved for the work, and bids will be opened on November 11th, so that will come to the village board for action on the November 17th Village Board agenda. Are there any questions on this one? There is no compensation for this, as we are working with the developer to get this finished.
Any questions? No?
I'll make a motion then
Thank you.
to approve the order for street dedication related to Deerfield Court.
Trustee Romas has offered a motion to approve the order for street dedication related to Deerfield Court. Is there a second to Trustee Romas?
I'll second that.
We have a second on the end from Trustee Stevens. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? That motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to the highlight of our evening. We are off to, I will get there. Item number 8A, Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 4, Economic Development Goals and Objectives Discussion. Zoning Administrator Dunks.
It's just a continuation from the last meeting, whatever direction you choose to go with it, reviewing the goals and objectives.
Okay, so to recap, when we last were here, we discussed looking this over as a board and going through this and making a determination, assigning a level of, did we accomplish this? Did we not accomplish this? Levels 1 through 5. 5 means we really knocked it out of the park and accomplished this goal. 1 means we did not at all. The other piece of it was then to determine, is this item, does the board still feel like this item has validity and should remain in the plan to be addressed by the other committees who are looking at the other pieces of the comprehensive plan for review? Did I summarize what we had discussed appropriately? Is everybody ready to do that this evening? Okay, terrific. I see we have the chart that was handed out to us that we talked about in the budget meeting, so we can use that as a reference potentially. Are there any questions on this item that was handed out? Okay, and we can use that as a reference, and let's get started. So I thought page 81 begins the objectives. And I think in the interest of fairness and collaboration, let's just start on the far end with Trustee Andrews. And Trustee Andrews, you lead off by reading the first item, and then we'll just go right down the line. And once you read it, we can go down the line, determine, put a number on it, and come up with, what is the consensus on that number? And then the same thing with, is it important, yes or no, and a consensus. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Sorry to put you on the spot, Trustee Andrews, but you get the first item.
With the, on page 81 there,
Yeah.
Page 81, objectives, it starts out
the
with.
objectives.
Yep. Identify appropriate core development.
Yeah, identify appropriate core development areas for additional business growth that do not negatively impact the village's rural character.
What do you think?
I think we've been doing that.
So let's look at, when we're going through this, let's talk about some examples of that. So we worked on, when we're identifying core areas for additional, the key here is additional business growth, right? We focused on Vickery Village, obviously. I don't know that there was much we could have done with regard to Urban Edge, but that certainly remained a focus. And I think, most importantly, probably East Deerfield, right?
Well, and then outside of that area, outside of that, one big business development that we brought in was Ken Sports.
That's a good point. And that's another area that could potentially be focused on because we have public land up that way. Land that we own.
Yeah.
So what number, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least accomplished, 5 being the most accomplished, what would you put that at?
always room for improvement, so, I mean, I would say we're 4.
Okay. Trustee Eckert.
I put 3 because I think we just need to continue it. I think it continues to need to be a goal yet.
Trustee Neto.
3.
I had that as a 3, similar to what Trustee Eckert's comments. Trustee Romas?
On question 1, how successful we've been, I put that as a 5.
Okay.
And as to whether we should continue, I put that as a yes.
All right. Trustee McKeefery.
I had that as a 3 as well. I do believe it should continue to stay within the comp plan and a focus for the village.
All right. Trustee Stevens.
Same thing.
All right, so for the first item, that ends up as a 3, and a yes, it should stay in the comp plan. All right, Trustee Eckert, you get number 2.
Ooh, lucky me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Continue to develop a pedestrian-friendly village center to help foster community identity and to serve as a focal point for economic development. I think that's 5, and I think it's all done.
5, so you take it off the plan?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so that's a 5.
I mean, if something occurs there, it does, but I don't think,
Okay.
you know.
Trustee Neto.
I put a 3. I just, always room for improvement.
So leave it on or take it off?
I'd leave it on.
Okay. Trustee Romas.
So on the first question, I gave it a 5 because I believe that's been successfully done there. Because it is the village center specifically, I don't think anything more needs to be done. So I gave it a not continue.
Okay. Trustee McKeefery.
I had this as a 4, and I believe it should stay on as we look to do additional development. And I was concerned, we still have a lot of dark streets out there, and I didn't consider that to be pedestrian-friendly necessarily, so I wanted to keep it on.
Okay. Trustee Stevens.
Number 4, and I think it should stay on because it is our focal point and we should continue to invest.
All right. Trustee Andrews.
I give it a 4, and I think it should stay on also, just for further, there's always room for improvement yet. Come up with things.
Okay. I guess it's, then I'm last on that one. So I would probably, I would agree with a 4 on it, and, yeah, I would leave it on because I think there's room for expansion. You know, I think we have Side Street that needs to be looked at. Not that we can do much with it, but potentially, there is obviously the property that's in probate, and there is that area behind the post office, which is, you know, all functioning businesses, but at some point, we have that, and we also have Sargento cheese, which is something that's going to happen with, sorry, did I say Sargento? The cheese factory, there's going to be something with that property as well. So, you know, for those reasons, I think it should stay on, because I think there's, you know, there could be potential there, depending on what the opportunities, and I think we are all pretty much, even some who said, no, we can take it off, we're kind of in agreement that there might be potential there that could be readdressed at a future time. So that comes to me, that is a 4 and a yes, just staying on. All right, Trustee Neto.
Promote economic activities that incorporate views and uses of the Suamico River, Bay of Green Bay, and the harbor.
How ironic that you got this one.
I give it a 1.
A 1.
We, in the village, we just do not have anything for people to utilize the bay, the river, all of it.
Do you feel it needs to stay on then, as a
Hands
discussion?
down.
Okay. I'm going to go in order. I would, you know, we did a little bit. I'll give it a 2. You know, we've done a little bit along the Suamico River with kayaks and a kayak launch and things like that to utilize that river. But, you know, I just read, did you know that the village of Suamico is the largest village in the state of Wisconsin per square miles. 59.4 square miles. I mean, I knew it was large, but that large. I didn't know it was that large. Is that correct?
It's a little cheating, so it takes 23 square miles into the Bay of Green Bay.
Ah.
But per the census data, yes, we're the largest village in the country. That's what I talk about at my national conference and
not cheating.
and boast.
In the country?
It's following.
In the country.
Yep.
Yeah,
But that's because we have 23 miles in the bay, which we don't utilize.
But
most of it's got 3 feet of water in it.
So,
that
so,
doesn't mean we're
Just-
cheating.
just-
it doesn't, no,
We're
it doesn't,
playing by the
it doesn't mean we're cheating.
Just a fun-
I-
rules are the rules.
I'm going to go with trustee Neto. I'm going to put a 2 on it only because we did stuff with the launch. Does it need to stay on? Yes. You know, we've got some huge number of, I think we have 800 square feet of land that the village of Suamico provides access to all of its citizens on the Bay of Green Bay. Yet we've got this huge expanse of land that we compete with the DNR, and they own tons of it. You know, they have tons of it. Somehow, we've got to open up, you know, this great resource so our citizens can use it more. One of the biggest complaints I've got since I've been on this board is the fact that people can't, people pile up to get their boats out at the boat launches. You know, so, I don't know. So that's where I'm at. Trustee Romas?
Well, continue the trend. Neto gave it a 1, you gave it a 2, so I'll give it a 3. But I will say, that's all for the Suamico River. I give the Bay of Green Bay and the harbor zeros. And I absolutely agree that we need to continue. And we need to focus on the Bay of Green Bay, if nothing else.
Trustee McKeefery?
Well, I stand corrected. I had looked at it as the kayak launch and the improvements we've made to the access to the Suamico River was an improvement, so I ranked that as a 5, thinking that we did complete our goal, and I need to educate myself more. I was under the impression we did not have much availability to do anything at the boat launch and on the harbor.
We really don't.
Okay.
We would have to seek opportunities. It's all privately owned property, and a lot of those landowners have stuck a lot of money into their property. So there would be a significant amount of resistance, rightfully so, you know, to somebody getting a village development next door. We put in that little park, Sunset Beach Park. For the longest time, some of you remember that, it was like pulling teeth to get that little park out there. But now that the park's out there, some folks really enjoy it. But anyway, so your number on it?
I did have it as a 5.
Okay.
But I would say to keep it on, obviously.
5 and yes. Okay. Trustee Stevens?
I would put it at 2. I think we should continue to focus our energy on what we can bring from the Bay of Green Bay and the harbor. Well, it seems like we've made some meaningful investments on the Suamico River. Feels like we should divert our attention to the bay and the harbor.
Trustee Andrews?
I gave it a 2. Yeah, other than the kayak launch and Sunset Beach Park, you know, those are the only 2 things that we've done. I would like to keep it on because I truly would like to be able to have more access for people to get on the water also.
Okay. Trustee Eckert?
3 and continue.
Okay, so we've got 2 3s, 3 2s, a 1, and a 5. So let's call that a 2.5, just for fun. 2.5, but an overall yes, a unanimous yes, that needs to be retained as an objective. Okay, I guess the next one's up to me. Pursue economic development policies that promote Suamico as a community for entrepreneurs to live, create businesses, and recreate. On this one, I did not put a number down or a yes or no. And what I was hoping from some of my more esteemed colleagues to get examples of how we have we done this policy? Can somebody give me an example of how we've pursued economic development policies to promote Suamico as a community for entrepreneurs?
How about AC Moore?
What's that?
AC Moore?
RC Motors.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
That's a good example.
Yeah, if I may, President Van Rossum, when I looked at it, I went, well, if you were to say, Alex, show me all the economic development policies that we have in the village, we don't have a document that says economic development policies. have things that we do that you could consider a policy. For example, this board has been more than willing to engage on tax incremental financing objectives. So you have engaged with developers to spur economic development. RC Motors is a great example. You did
Midwest
that for
expansion.
Aldi. You did that for the North Bay Business Park, the Woodfield Court facility. So there's examples of where you've done economic development policies. We just don't have a formal written policy on them.
Okay.
But additional policies that I've seen in other communities written are things like financing infrastructure development for developments. That's something that we don't do, but that's an example of a economic development policy that you could take up.
Okay.
I guess I would offer, could we exchange the word policies for opportunities? Because when I think of a policy, I think of a piece of paper. And so the end in mind is economic development opportunities, right? To create more RC mowers. So I guess, I was kind of confused on this one. Am I looking for something in a filing cabinet that's called a policy? Or am I looking for a result? And everything I heard here was about results, which are to me, we created opportunities. The policies were just part of that.
And we did things to facilitate those opportunities. So really, we're talking about, are there things that we should do to facilitate economic opportunities for entrepreneurs in the village of Suamico? How does that sound to everyone?
I think we did it, but I don't think we went too far. I don't think we need to be financing them. I would always caution picking and choosing one business over another. I think we did it. I think we did fine. I wouldn't want to go too far.
All right, trustee Rums, what's your number? What's
So
your number?
I had a 3, but I'm going to up that to a 5. The reason for that is it occurred to me as we were talking tonight that Suamico is a very residential area. We don't have a lot of opportunities for developing businesses and economics. And when we have, we've done it. We've supported all sorts of things, like even repaving roads, taking pieces of a road in, et cetera. So I'm going to give that as a 5. And I'm going to say we should always continue pursuing those sorts of things, but with the recognition that we have a very large residential base here, and that's not a bad thing either.
Okay. Trustee McKeefery.
I had this as a 1 for the same reasons of trustee Stevens' comments. I was thinking of a policy, and I believed that we were in the process of trying to get that put together for us. So I would support having it stay on as well.
Okay. Trustee Stevens?
I would rate it as a 2, but we're off to some really good examples and a great start. I think later on in this comprehensive plan, we'll see that there is property that was deemed as potential industrial expansion that feels like we didn't do a lot with over the term of this thing. So I would say 2 and yes.
Trustee Andrews?
I gave it a 2. And, yeah, we need to really look at where we can identify some more growth. It's not always easy to happen. I mean, so you can't make people sell their property to make that happen, especially along the corridor of the highway. But, you know, over time, we have to further get out there and at least talk with people. And, hey, when you are ready to sell, can you at least look us up?
So 2 and keep it on?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Eckert?
3 and continue.
Thank you. Trustee Neto?
3 and continue.
Very good. So I'm gonna break the tie here, I guess, so I'm gonna go 3 and continue. So that's a 3 and continue. think there was some work done on that, but we have to look at ways of creating new opportunities. Okay, trustee Romas is the next yours.
Yep. Encourage continued growth in small and regional businesses that serve Suamico and the surrounding communities. I gave that a 3. I think that you've done a good job of that, but I haven't seen actually any, not that I can recall, and perhaps Administrator Kager can set me straight on this, literal outreach for small and regional businesses. And I think we should continue.
Okay, trustee McKeefery.
I had as a 3 and continue.
Same.
Trustee Stevens has a 3 and continue. Trustee Andrews.
3 and continue.
Sounds like that's a winner. Trustee Eckert.
3 and continue, and I think we are encouraging it by extending that sewer on Deerfield.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a
very
good point.
I changed my answer to a 4.
Too late. Trustee Neto.
3 and continue.
Sorry.
Okay, so that is a 3 and continue. I actually had that marked as a 2 because I wasn't sure how much we included small and regional businesses, but I did hear a lot of comments on the small businesses that we had. And as far as continue, yes, I mean, it's economic development, so that's
I
a,
left it at a 2 and my 4 would average a 3. Just the way to look at it.
okay, but it all works out well, so it's a 3 and a yes. Very good. Okay, trustee McKeefery.
Ensure new commercial and industrial development is designed to fit into the Suamico community. I rated that as a 5, and also wanted to stay, I believe that we have had development, and as of today, we have continued to keep the design within the realms of what everyone would like to see Suamico stay, and I believe this should be an ongoing effort.
Okay,
I would say it's a 5, and we should continue.
okay. Trustee Andrews.
And I would give it a 5, and yes, we continue.
Trustee Eckert.
3 and continue.
Trustee Neto.
3 and continue.
I had 3 and continue. Trustee Romas.
5 and continue.
All right, that came out as an overall 5 and to continue. Okay. Trustee Stevens, you get the next one.
Oh, geez, on the other side, okay. Promote business development in nodes rather than strips to avoid continuous commercial corridors. The vocabulary I liked when I read this was called clustering. I thought that was a very interesting concept, and I would say that we've done not a lot of development in this space, so I would give it a 2, but I would certainly encourage us to continue to have covenants that would not allow us to have just commercial strips, like we see on South 41.
Okay. Trustee Andrews.
I give it a 3. And there's always room to look for better ways to promote that, and so maybe that's something we can look at, so keep it on.
Okay. Trustee Eckert.
3 and continue. I think we're doing what we can.
Okay.
3 continue.
Okay, I'm also a 3 and continue. I vacillated a little bit, but I like the idea of nodes. So when we talk about the overall development, avoiding these corridors, these alleys of businesses, it seems to make really, somewhere along the lines, they made really good decisions here. When you think about Vickery Village and how that's a node, and you think about Midwest expansion, how that's kind of a node, those areas, you've got it's a cluster. That cluster is a better word for it, I guess. Clusters of businesses in those areas. It seems like a wise way to go, so I was 3 and yes.
Well, apparently I'm going to be the board's favorite teacher tonight because I gave you all a 5. Because I feel like when we've been faced with a decision or faced with it, we're still limited geographically. So, yeah, we have some strips up on 41. Where are you going to put it in? Right? And so I think up to now, say a 5, but I think we should continue to look for those.
Okay. Trustee McKeefery.
I had it as a 4 and a continue.
Second favorite teacher.
All right, so that one comes out to overall as a 3 and to continue. Okay, back down on the end.
Promote the redevelopment of vacant or underutilized commercial and industrial properties. I gave it a 3. I think we've done some good things, like the, those car condos,
Oh, yeah.
Woodfield. Woodfield.
Woodfield motor condos. That definitely has turned out to be something, I mean, I believed in it at the time when we approved that, but I didn't think it was going to grow to the point that it is right now, so that's great. And just, and we're, you know, gradually we're making headway on Deerfield there with some of those properties, so we need to keep it on.
Okay. Trustee Eckert.
Vacant and underutilized, 3 and continue. Velp and White Pine come to mind. Also, maybe someday a good water and sewer area for whatever.
Okay. Trustee Neto.
3, continue.
Okay, I had 2 and continue. But as I hear you guys, this is the power of a board, as I hear you guys recite some of these examples that I clearly have forgotten over the years, we have done a lot to redevelop underutilized commercial properties. I just made a note as you were talking down here, the whole area around Onopi, right? I mean, that's changed over the years, but it's become kind of a vibrant place. Do we have a lot of underutilized properties?
Well, no, I'd say, regionally, we're doing pretty good as a community, and I would even throw out the old Chaco building and how
yeah.
that's been redeveloped along with the Mark. Historic downtown, a lot of those buildings have been either refurbished or we've seen some newer buildings go in.
Oh, the
We've
Y.
repurposed the fire station into Station 1 Brewery. I think we've been very successful on this one.
Okay, I'm going 4 with that, 4 and yes.
I agree with Alex. I think you guys, come on, we've done a great job. A 5 and a 1. Doesn't mean we can't keep doing a great job. It just means that you're like, oh, we didn't do that great. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We did great work. Okay, enough.
So was that a 5 or a 1?
That was a 5 and the 1 is a 1 and a 0 for, it's digital. 1 means continue, 0 means no.
Geez, Mike, that sounded like a 6.
Okay,
I would give it a 6 if I could.
Trustee McKeefer.
I did have this as a 2 and a continue. After hearing comments, I would be considered potentially raising it to a 3, but I believe that we still have a lot of opportunity here.
Okay.
I'm never going to go to one of your classes.
Trustee Stevens.
4 and yes.
Thanks, Alex, for mentioning some of the other examples. You kind of forget about some of it.
You sure do. So I have that coming out as an overall.
5.
It's a majority of 3s, 3 and yes. Just taking the majority that comes out, not trying to do the average. Okay, Trustee Eckert.
Identify areas of Suamico that would be appropriate for new commercial and industrial development. 3 and continue.
Okay,
3, continue.
all right. I'm if I say two, somebody's going to give me a whole bunch of examples, probably trustee Romas. So I'm going to say three and continue, because there are examples. After talking to you guys, trustee Eckert, you mentioned, the development dollars that actually you brought up, the additional development dollars to put into East Deerfield Avenue for sewer, to facilitate business there. That's an excellent example. So I'm going to go three and continue. Trustee Romas.
5, because I think the board has done a great job of identifying this sort of thing, and I would like to continue doing that great job.
Okay. Trustee McKeever.
3 and continue.
Trustee Stevens.
I would say 3 and continue, but I struggle with the word identify. So what's the objective? Is to say this is a point on a map, or is it to do something about the point on the map? So, I don't know if we're going to change words on this, but I would not be supportive of doing more of identifying. What I'd be supportive of is using the areas you've identified and promoting growth in new commercial and industrial development.
What does everybody feel? How does everybody feel about making that change to this verbiage? Remove identify, replace with promote, for example.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I would just say identify and promote,
Yeah.
because we got to identify first.
I'm okay with it. I don't want to go too far again. I want the free market to take its own way to a certain degree. But promote's okay.
So identify and promote? Okay, we'll make that change. And that comes as a solid, did I get everyone?
As a 5.
I had a solid 3. My math might be bad. All right. Okay, who's got the last one? Trustee Neto, I think it falls to you.
Develop marketing plan to enhance tourism. 3 and continue.
Develop marketing plan to enhance tourism.
This is the one I could use some examples, because I'm struggling with finding anything. So Alex, maybe you could just.
Yeah, we definitely don't have a singular marketing plan. That never happened. We do partner with some other organizations, including Discover Green Bay. There's been certain initiatives that they've had, one being Your Move, Greater Green Bay Area. But we also partner with the Howard Suamico Business and Professional Association. We partner with them on different advertisements for Suamico. That's more on a localized level. But we, over the years, have partnered with some tourism magazines and got our name out that way as well. If there's a desire for more of a marketing plan, that's something that the board would need to consider investing some money into.
Live, work, play. Right, it was on the billboard. Live, work, play in Suamico. Was it live, work, play, something else? I only work here, so,
Yeah, something like that.
and live here.
I
don't
was
have
going
any
to
time
say.
for
I would caution, it's not a tourist town. I think what we're doing is fine.
So where would you put that?
I'm fine with 3 and continue. I don't know if it was my turn.
It can be. It is. It was, no, you read it, so you're
That's
first.
fine. You can finish.
I don't think I read it.
We can go.
Did I?
I think trustee Neto read it.
Oh, trustee Neto read it, sorry.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
3, oh, so, okay.
See if I can teach it.
I can go with a 3, and yes.
In a rare turn of events, at this meeting tonight, I'm going to give that a 0, because I don't think we have a marketing plan, and I don't think we need one. I think what we're doing now, currently, like with the examples given here, et cetera, is good enough for tourism in Suamico. So a 0 and a 0.
Well said.
you.
Perfect.
I'm going to go with the same thing.
Okay,
You can't say the same thing.
I had this as a 2, and I approached it a little bit differently. The tourism word kind of, I don't really, I don't want to encourage tourism in Suamico. But when I was reading through this chapter, there was a section where it was talking about going down the highway and you identify, you just entered Village of Suamico territory.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I don't think we're doing a good job of that. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement there. So I would say a 2 and stay.
From the north, we used to not even have that sign until they redid the highway. And then back in the day, I think Schenkelberg said we should have a sign. We, on Lineville, and we finally got around to that, and it's in a wonderful spot right now. I like it there.
But you can't see it from the highway, though,
No,
right? Are we
that's true.
thinking of this different? am I
That's
thinking
true.
of a different one?
You can see our water tower.
Yeah, that's true. I was just looking at, I thought we were really lacking in that area. If you're driving north 41, what's popping out at you? And maybe I've just lived here too long and it's
No.
right there in my face and I don't even see it anymore? That's possible, so if I'm wrong, please tell me.
It's a good point. I mean, it's better than it was, but
Yeah,
that's a
we've
good
made
point.
improvements, I just
Yeah.
don't think we can probably.
It's kind of
rock with
nice
that.
being the hidden little secret of.
Lineville had some signage. I mean, Lineville has some
Biggest
signage, but I
village,
don't think
but no
there's
one
anything
knows we're
going
here.
north. If halfway between B and Lineville, there's the billboard that proclaims, "Welcome to the Oneida Reservation."
Good for them.
But my point being, they are putting up this big sign, marketing the Oneida Reservation in our central business corridor, which is okay, because it is their reservation, that is their boundaries, and they are completely, I have no problem with them doing that. But if the Oneida Reservation can put up a big, beautiful sign that says, "Welcome to the reservation," in one of our central business corridors, then shouldn't we have something comparable at least?
I mean, I think we do have billboards.
We do.
I
Yep.
did see billboards, and they've got a casino to market, and we don't really have anything, nor do we want anything that touristy. But
Isn't the key to, in this one, enhance tourism? I don't know how that would enhance tourism either. The big sign, okay, you drive by, ooh, Suamico, okay.
Can we look at changing that? Those, to enhance, just, let's, like we all just talked, everybody has got comments about the signage, and, I don't know if that would be better classified as advertisement, maybe, or just identifying or something, willing to talk about words, word changes on that, going away from the tourism piece of it, and more of and maybe not say a marketing plan, because again, that kind of insinuates we have an actual plan, and I don't know if we want to really do that. But I do think that marketing ourselves, as identifying the village, being on the map, I'm all for that.
How about promoting our identity?
Okay,
it still frustrates me when I hear about the village of Howard Suamico.
yes,
like-
exactly. I would
It's
like-
not as bad as it used to be, but it's like, come on.
That's because I attack
We
anybody
just-
who says it.
Yeah.
It's getting out
Thank
there.
you.
So we could have a
Back
sign
up,
that
call
says
me.
Suamico,
But you're very,
like Howard, but better.
you're very right. I mean,
What?
there are
Is
businesses.
this being recorded?
There are businesses.
It's live on Facebook.
There are businesses within the boundaries of Suamico that have Green Bay mailing addresses, that use a Green Bay mailing address. And the reason they do that is they feel it's more advantageous to their business to have a Green Bay mailing address than a Suamico mailing address. And to some degree, I understand that. But to the administrator's point, if we spent time and money promoting the image of Suamico, couldn't we take that to the place where all of a sudden, you wouldn't want to be necessarily Green Bay. There'd be an element,
Yes.
you know what I'm trying to say?
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
There's got to be, people need to be proud of of being in Suamico. A
Yeah,
business-
we're not Green Bay and we're
Right.
not Howard. We're
Right.
Suamico.
Right, and there's a lot
Like
that we
Howard.
have to be proud of in Suamico, the access to some of the access to the bay,
I-
the limited access to the bay, but the outdoors and the things that we have. So I think promoting our identity, I think I like that idea.
And a homeowner, right? Someone who wants to live here, what does our survey say? What do people say? It's about the rural character. It's about the connection to nature. That's what makes Suamico what Suamico is to a lot of people.
Suamico, you don't have to pronounce our name properly.
That's right. No one, yeah,
That's the
Can
new
we
motto.
change the
I'm
spelling
gonna get a
of
bumper
Suamico?
sticker like that.
You want to write it up there?
Swamico.
You don't have to pronounce our name right to visit.
We'll just change the spelling of Sooamico.
So did everyone have a turn on this one?
No. So I would say it's a 1, but I would change the words to develop a communication plan to enhance the identity and brand of Suamico.
The branding, ooh, I like that.
Oh, that's so cliche.
Oh, but it's,
Come on.
So what everybody, that's what everybody's
come
been
on.
talking about.
it makes
Well,
sense.
remember what we're doing with this, that I think it's a good point that you make, Trustee Stevens, because what we're doing is we're trying to, this is going to be the direction that we're sending down to the other committees when they're going through their items to help them with this. So, for whatever help this is going to be. But developing the brand and identity of Suamico, every committee needs to have that in mind, Park and Rec, when you're looking at this, right? Developing the identity of Suamico. What makes up, so the question is, what
like
makes up the
identity.
identity of Suamico? And then everything kind of filters from that. Is it the bay? Is it the river? Is it Vickery Village?
The people.
Maybe those are the elements that we need. Is it the people? Of course.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it the fact that we're rural, we're at arm's reach
Yeah,
from all
that too.
all the other, parts of Green Bay?
It's all of our identity.
So are we okay with that change?
I'm okay with taking out tourism, certainly. And branding is fine, but I don't want to end up being tied to an expensive plan. I don't want to spend that money.
Something we could make.
So
work
promote
out
identity
internally.
and branding.
Something we could work out.
Well,
internally.
if a plan was ever to come forward, if there was any money to be spent, this board would have to approve it anyway.
Right.
I feel like this board.
Yeah,
is
but
diverse.
sometime when you make it a goal, you get bullied to vote for something, and I don't like that.
Does a
When
plan
has
have to
anybody
be
ever
official?
bullied you into anything?
Does
All
a
the
plan have to
time.
be an official plan?
It doesn't mean it works.
Doesn't
Can't
work.
we just get together as a group and work out what our identity is?
I can't, we don't have to have outside consultants to help us figure this out.
I agree.
Right, I
We have,
agree.
we have.
We have a
surv-
diverse board.
surveys, we have a diverse board, we have a planning committee, we have an administrator that's gonna do the strategic planning anyhow, so.
I thought 28.
So I'm with you, Michelle, I don't think we should spend money on this.
Nope.
But I do believe that we should put some calories into understanding what's the identity that we want of Suamico, and yes, brands become, part of that.
Yeah.
And we've already got a lot of nice taglines that are, tell a good story.
Right.
T-shirts, we're not Howard. Oh,
So we're,
Howard with this.
okay, so just trying to stay on track. So we're talking about, we made some changes to this item, getting rid of tourism, focusing on branding and developing identity. This is going to go to all committees, right? These overall goals. The board is really focused on developing branding and identity. So the question to the other committees is, from your perspective, what makes up, Suamico's identity?
That's great. More inputs.
And we should probably put that as an assignment to this group, so that we can cascade it to the others for input, or look at the community input.
Can we put that in?
And that's something that we can talk to Brown County Planning Commission about, that that's a priority. And they'll know that early on, so as they go through these chapters and talk to the committees, that's something that they can prioritize,
Okay.
I would think. Steve, what do you think?
I don't have a clue.
We know that, but what do you think about the idea?
I think most of what they're gonna be looking at is
They're not gonna
just
help us with that.
the internal, I don't think they're gonna be examining the goals. That's more for the economic chapter. I mean, street is, whatever, transportation's gonna be, I don't know if there's gonna be goals in transportation. Our land use isn't gonna, maybe a little bit for the commercial side of it to find some areas to do this, but
I think we got this.
Well, I mean, there's elements of identity that will come out of the discussion with Brown County, though. We'll just have to make sure it's our identity and no one else's. Okay,
So I didn't care for the word tourism myself either. And I kind of came up with, maybe more public events or something. I mean, something like, we have Tunes on Tuesday at Vickery Village, and it draws in a lot of people. And not everyone is from Suamico that's there. So you are, by having things like that, you are bringing in people from other communities and, and spending money, at some of our establishments. So, but I gave it a 2, but we need to keep it on.
Can we take out the word tourism, though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we were revising that to get
Yeah.
rid of tourism. It sounded like that was what everybody wanted out, and that was going to be replaced with develop, promote Suamico identity
And brand.
and brand. Okay. Anyone else have more to weigh in on that one, or we've got it covered?
I think we got it.
All right, well, let's just keep going. Some of these are going to be redundant, but we go to page 100. If we go to page 100, this is it page 100?
President Van Rossum,
What's that?
if I may,
Yep.
at the risk of prolonging the meeting, I
Yep.
think this is a fantastic conversation. I'm glad we're having it. My brain jumps to, okay, we went over these objectives, and the lowest scoring one was promote economic activities that incorporate views and uses of the Suamico River, Bay of Green Bay, and harbor. And when I look at that, I'm thinking, okay, the only real opportunities to work on that is the board willing to invest a lot of money to purchase land so that you can increase that? But is there other activities or other ideas that you had that I can take that are practical and I can work on that? That's what I'm seeking from the board.
So ways to develop the river and the bay.
I mean, is that simply just access? Is that what you're all thinking is just access, or is there something else that you're thinking about?
And I wouldn't be willing to spend large amounts of money to acquire land. I think keeping it as private ownership is fine. I just wouldn't want to spend a fortune on,
Well, I would spend money depending on where it is. Depending on where it is. An example, let's say we have Sunset Beach Park. Well, if we had the opportunity to buy an adjoining property, well, now we can create a little bit bigger of a park there for people to use the water. And there is access right there. There is that little landing. There is access.
would be
Not
a
for
s-
big boats, but there's access.
Kayaks use it.
Yeah,
that would be a special circumstance, though. I think you could make that happen if that would come up, though. I mean,
Correct.
the fact that it would be an adjoining property, then you sit and talk about it.
right.
I don't know that it needs to be a goal, because is that likely to happen?
I think what Alex is asking
don't
us is, is this something that should be on his list of looking for opportunities? So, we can wait for an opportunity to drop in our lap. Sunset Beach was an opportunity, it was a gifted property because of a horrible accident, right? And that's how we got that piece of property to develop that small park. Otherwise, for years, it was just a driveway that you'd drive into and you could swim there. Anyway, but if we're looking for opportunities like this, I mean, let's not put the cart before the horse. We're talking about, nobody should talk about, we shouldn't be thinking about spending money because we don't even have an opportunity yet. If an opportunity comes forward, then you got to look at the details of it, right? What's the potential return on investment? I'll give you an example. When you look at Oconto, the city of Oconto, and you look at the pier.
That
was
causeway.
The causeway,
Yeah.
right? That was just the causeway for years and years and years, and it was nothing. It was swampland out there. And a lot of old fishing shacks that were out there, which were really super cool. But eventually, city of Oconto purchased some of those properties, and some of it through grant, and then now there's a restaurant, there's a boat landing. All those people are going into Ocano, they're leaving Ocano at the end of the night, and they're purchasing fuel out there, they're having a hamburger out there, there's families who are using those parks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that was something that, there was a potential opportunity, but they were actively looking for that potential opportunity. It just didn't drop in their lap.
And your opportunities have been there. That home to the north of Sunset Beach Park, we did propose purchasing that, and it was rejected. You had Pat Doctor's property that they proposed
On the Suamico River.
on the Suamico River, and, we rejected that. So we've had the opportunities.
There's been a few.
There's been a few.
So,
I mean, I don't think we should actively pursue, but if an opportunity comes, we hear what that opportunity is. But
And I know you've been waiting for my 2 cents on this if you're done.
Well, I guess, I don't know if Ocano's Causeway is because we're in a lot better way than Oconto. And I wouldn't want to use them as an example. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I hesitate to spend a lot of money.
Well, I look at today's meeting, what we're doing, the purposes of it is to inform the committees and ourselves of what we think about the current comprehensive plan, what we'd like to change. I don't think you guys should take any direction from this meeting. Like, I don't think it should be, oh, they said this, so we should probably get on that, or this or that. So I would say just maybe relax on that and let the comprehensive plan define it.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents.
so for this particular item, when we look at this particular item, this was in the comprehensive plan going back a considerable amount of time, and we really haven't done anything with it, and we've had opportunities to do something with it, and despite the fact that it was in our comprehensive plan, and we all, the board at the time, owned up to it, and the committees owned up to it, or took accountability to go ahead and we're doing it again here tonight. We're saying we want to promote economic activities that incorporate views and uses of the Suamico River and Green Bay and Harbor. If we're not willing to do that, then we need to take this out. And if we are willing to do this, then we need to put our money, figuratively, with the right opportunity. We need to put our money where our mouth is.
Well, Alex is saying promote activities, but we're talking suddenly about spending a fortune on property. Those are kind of two different things.
It could be activities.
So what I'm hearing from the board a lot when we're talking about this item is more about access. And maybe this is the wrong wording of a goal. When I'm talking about activities, I'm thinking, okay, if we host a triathlon and we use the Bay of Green Bay as the swimming portion of it, that's promoting an economic activity. You're bringing people from the outside in, or maybe there's a competitive bike race that we use and they go along the Suamico River. I'm trying to understand if that's what the board is talking about, or they're talking about something different, and they're talking more about access. Because when you initially were talking about this, it was all about access. That's what I'm trying to clarify.
I'm good with activities. I mean, access would be great, but I fall more on to what some others said. If access becomes available, we'll act on that. When that comes. We should be open to opportunities for access, but I don't know that we should be going to, properties, taking them off the tax roll, and paying a huge amount of money for them unless there's a good return on investment for it, and I would have to see those numbers. Activities are something that would actually fulfill a number of these goals,
Sure.
talking about raising the level of the identity and, promoting Suamico. A triathlon, great idea. A bike race, there's the bike race that goes all over the state of Wisconsin that we could potentially, make an offer to make Vickery Village, the a criterion course or something for a weekend, who knows? I think activities would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page when we're talking about that kind of line item. Thank you.
What else do you have?
I'm good. I'll relax, Mike.
Do you guys want to keep going with recommendations? Some of these we've already talked about. They're listed more by category. Do you want to discuss these recommendations beginning on page 99?
What, do we have other ideas that we could add to this? How do we do that?
If that's the direction you'd like to go right now, then let's do it.
Okay, so when I read this report, I honed in at the last paragraph on page 85. And I honed in on the first paragraph on page 86. And my thoughts here was it's talking about industrial development with a purpose. And the purpose in the first sector is to support extensions of the biggest industries, not only in our state, but in our county, and also in our own village, and that's called manufacturing. And in the second cluster is all about springboarding innovation for those same industries. And so one of the things that I was running through my head is to promote and identify areas or developments that would support the first and second clusters of the largest industrial industries we have in our community. Example would be, is you see a lot of entrepreneurial shops, no different than the auto mall out here, or the condominiums. Concepts like that where people are putting small boutique manufacturers, they're starting up. And they're supporting, whether it be paper industry or transportation industry, or any other industry that not only supports our state, but we have a luxury in this community, is we're serving a nation, not just our own county. And so when I think about, industrial development and where that might be, Mike, and that's the conversation, right? Is there large enough tracts that we could bring more of these types of businesses, in which, by the way, we have a high concentration of managerial, educated people in our community that would support that type of business development, those types of businesses. And so I'm trying to think in my head is industrial development with a purpose. And this first and second cluster thing was really interesting for me, and the statistics that are on page 83 and, over onto 85 tell a very interesting story about our community.
These were the numbers, though, that I had asked for.
I understand, and I'm making the
Alex said.
assumption they're directionally correct. That's all, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they're gonna change much.
I don't disagree with
yeah.
what you're saying. I just want to make sure that, because these
Right.
numbers are old, so I want
Yeah.
to, and I unfortunately did not get an opportunity to review those in depth, Alex, but I appreciate you sending those out, and I will take a look at those.
So that's, I guess, I open for thoughts and just kind of rambling here and what my thoughts were.
Alex, you have something highlighted here. Is that?
Yeah, I was curious, Mark, if you're alluding to what we've got on East Deerfield Avenue, those North Bay
Yep.
business rentals, you're just looking for more of that type of development,
Right.
correct? Okay.
And the other question I had is, and maybe some people can give, this whole 160-some acres that's out on Northfield, what's the limitations out there?
Well, the biggest limitation is you're not going to be able to get water and sewer out there.
Correct.
So that really hurt, and I wasn't here for it, but that's a
Right.
primary reason, I believe, as to why they went with the wetland mitigation bank. And so most of that is eaten up now by that wetland mitigation bank project. And Sky and Michelle and maybe even Steve can speak more to that history of it. I know that was purchased a couple of decades ago with the idea that that would be industrial, but the limitations on the utilities was
And
huge.
that purchase would have been before us.
The purchase of
Yeah,
the
the
purchase of the
purchase.
land was
Yeah.
before that, yeah,
Yeah.
before any of us. But the land was, yes, purchased as an industrial park location. It's actually behind a municipal building that the village currently owns to some degree. That property was being rented out to a farmer who was, basically tilling it for something like $900 a year or something like that, rental on that piece of property. When it was determined that, the sewer, two things happened. First of all, it was the reconstruction of 41 that took the exit off there. So now you only have an exit that's up on Brown Road, and you have an exit that's way down on County Highway B.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, that as an industrial park became a lot less attractive for folks moving freight or moving supplies in. Now you've got these roads that are predominantly residential in most areas that would have to be, or for a portion of them, would have, heavy trucks and vehicles moving across them. So that was one piece of it. Then the other piece of it was the utilities. How are we ever going to get utilities there? And the cost of utilities to move it up Velp, to that location or over, or down Veterans to that location was just, I think a number was like 2.8 million or something like that. It was
a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. So it just didn't seem feasible. I think over the course of years, there's been one or two outside organizations that have shared interest in potentially putting some sort of business out there, but it never came to fruition. Access to the highway has been a huge issue now that, when they redid it.
And even at one point, I think the Lost Lane or whatever,
Lost Trail.
off of Lost Trail,
Lost Trail.
Lost Trail.
had some bites, I don't know.
Yeah,
But now that's,
potentially large
now
industrial
it's
development.
residential, so.
Yep.
So is that what's left, more or less, the highlighted area?
Essentially, yeah, for the east side.
Yeah, for this area, right.
So, I mean, the highlighted, so, those two highlighted areas, is that something, when we look at economic development, we have that property that's owned by the Village of Suamico, is that something we put on the market?
Well, yes, but the north side of that, just for situational awareness, the village sold a section of this parcel back in 2019, I think it was. And this northern section, there is a right of first refusal to Ken Sports. So I know Ken Sports is looking to possibly expand up here and would want this for their stormwater pond. So this is kind of off limits. It's also our current borrow pit for the wetland mitigation bank, so we're taking clay out of it. But once we're done taking clay out of it, this kind of opens that up. But then remember that Ken Sports has the first right of refusal there. So this leaves you about 27 acres to the south. But again, problems with getting utilities up there kind of limits the scope of what you could do with it. And then I know there are wetland concerns. You'd have to do a wetland delineation at some point on that, but we're getting really into the weeds about this.
Yeah.
But it's a good example case, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, to the point that you brought up, Trustee Stevens, is that, with the location of, there's business located there right now. There isn't really easy access to the highway, but is there a potential with some of the, the features of that topography to work around those wetlands and create something like what we saw further south, those small businesses, boutique businesses?
Your biggest hurdle there is the lack of utilities, water and sewer, for sure.
Okay.
All right.
So is there a goal? Is there something we want to send down to the committees when they're looking at this in terms of economic development? Small businesses, regional businesses?
I'm just processing in my head is what's attractive about that? I mean,
What's attractive about that?
yeah, I mean, so the question will be, is this gonna be like Ken's, right? I mean, he's gonna have to have his own gas. He's gonna have a septic field up there. He's gonna have to dig his own well. And so you'd have to have a planned community that would do the same thing. In an industrial application, that's sledding uphill.
Yeah. I don't think it's an industrial an area for an industrial application because of the absence of utilities.
Yeah,
But, some other potential, could it be an office development? I don't know. Would anybody want it to be an office development? It's located in the hinterlands essentially, without easy access to the highway. It's a nice pond. We had talked about at some point, that there was discussion about making that a Suamico Park. The issue with that is, it's really up on the northeastern corner. I mean, really going to use that. Certainly, there would be people who would use it, but probably not a lot. And then you've got the maintenance.
Economic development-wise, what do you think of Lineville? Out by the school? Are we talking all residential there, or is that going to be is there going to be a commercial element?
Where exactly are you talking? Right here?
I don't know. You know, yeah, thereabouts.
Well, I think the school
Further
district
down,
has
eventually,
their own plans.
We can annex it.
further down this way. In the long term.
I would think you'd prioritize residential in that area.
Okay,
You're getting pretty far away from 41.
yeah.
Is that within proximity to a sewer and water area?
You could extend,
It's-
yeah,
well,
we've
that's-
talked about it.
That's the long-term plan, because that's the only way it can grow.
Well, I mean, but that's something that we need to look at. That's one of the areas that sewer and water
Yeah.
could grow,
Yeah, because
potentially.
it's, go to the right a little more further this way. I think it's right here. And then, we're talking this way.
Yeah, this is something that Public Works and Utilities has talked about and would be part of their conversation for the comp plan about what's logical. I mean, how feasible is it to get water and sewer extended, and then how far can it be extended? So that's gonna for sure be a conversation during the comp plan.
Because, and it needed to be a conversation when we chose the size of that tower, too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing is the difference, I hope what the difference is with this comprehensive plan when we get it completed. I hope, and trustee Romas brought this up, I hope this becomes a process where we're reviewing this comprehensive plan and being accountable to, are we driving these things? Are we, the things that we've committed to within the comprehensive plan, are we driving those things within the policy and the decisions that we're making up here on the board? Because I think that's a piece that was missing. I mean, there isn't anybody who was here during the last comprehensive plan who remembers a whole lot in the last comprehensive plan, by virtue of the fact that it just doesn't seem to make any difference. We got to do better. We got to do something different.
I don't think we did too bad, and Roma seems to like it.
I think you guys did a great job. It doesn't mean we can't do even more.
Oh,
That's fine.
okay.
Yeah.
So when you look at this and this conversation we're in, and again, I'm getting educated just on the topography of our village, there's a lot of talk in this thing about industrial and commercial, industrial development. And we've got objectives that are in here. We've said, yeah, let's keep going, let's keep going. It doesn't feel like there's any land to do it.
No.
And so my point is, why are we putting so much emphasis on it then? Why wouldn't we put more emphasis on residential than industrial? Because it just economically, it doesn't feel like it's gonna work out. We're gonna have little pods show up, along East Deerfield and stuff like that, or maybe up by Ken's. But I'm just struggling with the idea that we're gonna put a lot of energy into industrial and commercial, industrial development. Because I just don't know where it's gonna go.
Even possible commercial development could be on like County B.
Right.
But, again, water and sewer doesn't, I think water goes to the school, but sewer doesn't, or something like that. But, it's a high traffic, there's commercial potentials there.
Like water's front going east to the highway.
Sure, but I mean, water utility
Yeah.
to the school, but, yeah.
Oh, another thing too is we brought up the cheese factory location several times, and for me, that becomes like an almost natural growth. More for the residential side though. And that's a place I might think condominiums.
Where?
So near Vickery Village, where you've got a center
Okay.
of culture, if you will. And then around that, in that area, you'd have a higher density condominium sort of setup, so. a person-
Where, though? I mean, there's no land.
I don't know, that's why we're having the conversation, that's why we need to keep
There's
it
no
on the
land
list,
there.
right?
That-
We need to have the conversation, we keep it on the list so that committees can do their thing and bring back ideas to us, as well as we think about it too. That's how I look at today.
Are there business properties within Vickery Village that are gonna go up for sale, right? So let's, hypothetically, there's some business property in back of Vickery Village that goes up for sale. Does Suamico then buy that piece of property to hang on to it for a larger development purpose to support Vickery Village? That would be consistent with the goals we just stated. I mean, we did that with the engineering firm.
I don't think it should be, I don't think we should not do that. I think when that happens, we should consider it.
You weigh it and you.
Consider it,
Investment.
Right.
maybe. I proceed with caution, but consider.
So I don't know if
Oh.
Michelle and Sky remember, but back when we did that comprehensive plan, I believe the gentleman's name was Chad Cornett, and he drafted up something that, what Vickery Village could kind of look like, and Trustee Romas, condos is what he had in there,
Yeah.
adjoining
I mean,
Vickery
if you
Village,
bring
you
up
know.
a- you bring-
I think that was the town center plan that was done by Omni way back when.
What's this
Oh,
say?
yeah.
And he might have been part of Omni, or he might have done it separately, yeah.
So
But that-
town center, is that the same as Vickery Village?
Yes.
downtown? Okay.
That's what
All
the
right.
town center, it incorporates that.
So if you bring it, if
I
you
believe
show-
it goes up to the credit union on County B. It might go actually behind that a little bit on Velp, but the town center on a map somewhere is identified,
if you
probably
just-
on Alex's wall.
Yeah,
Sorry. I
for sure.
Apologize for interrupting. It's just I'm getting older. If I don't say something, I'll forget what I was gonna say. And you're like, please. Okay.
Yeah.
So if, if you go to the.
Please.
If you go to that map you had up before and just kind of look at Vickery Village and you look at where, we know there's the cheese factory is, but that's a done thing, right? It's closing?
Well, it's being
That's-
repurposed, is the latest that we've heard.
Oh,
So
okay.
they'll still be
It's-
using it.
It's
Okay,
still
never
the
mind.
same company.
Correct.
Never mind. I thought it was, okay. All right.
Might have changed, but
Yeah, yeah.
as far as we know.
That's fine.
Maybe like land across from the fire station.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's gonna be difficult land to do anything with.
Okay.
That's a brownfield.
No.
There's ways around
The
it.
old asphalt
Yep.
plant is.
There's ways around it
There's ways
Make it
around
into a
it.
parking lot?
You can mitigate it.
for lots of money.
There's grants.
There wasn't grants
Mr. Positive.
Okay, you.
because the original contaminators kin were still alive. So we could not get grant money because we tried to buy that once. And use grants, and we were denied.
Were you writing the application?
I wasn't. Karen probably was. We're going way back in the memory.
Yeah, that's
Well,
before us.
there's potential.
Moving on.
There's potential we could do something.
Something wrong.
Not much, but
I think it's a good point, though. I think it's a good point in this overall plan. You know, when we start to weigh, this is just my opinion, when we start to weigh the amount of available land for industry, we really don't have it, right? I mean,
Not for
Potentially, you've
industrial.
got Stachinsky's, not Stachinsky,
on the farm, yeah,
yeah,
West Deerfield.
yeah,
Statinsky.
yes, Stachinsky Farm. But there's a lot of wetlands in there.
But, and there's also not easy highway access. That would be Harbor Lights. I don't think anybody who lives in Harbor Lights would like big trucks driving down Harbor Lights.
They
The
are
trucks will go
anyway.
up-
They're going.
up
It's
your-
not a truck
the
route,
highway one way or the other.
but you wouldn't know it.
That property that's east, it's Robert, was it Prattson, or whatever?
This one?
Yeah, what is,
Robert Presch, that's the brownfield.
that's a brownfield site?
Yep.
What was there before?
Asphalt factory. And a minnow farm down on the end.
But to Alex's point, I mean, maybe it's mitigatable. maybe it's mitigatable for less than we think because there's maybe a grant, who knows? To keep it on the, and that's what I think a comprehensive plan should be there for, as we look at this and think about it. Is there a way that the brilliant brains in this room can find a way to take that field, not take it if the person doesn't want to sell it, obviously, but make that a situation where we get an ROI? And then if we do, and maybe we can put something there that would enhance its character and make Suamico a better place, even better than it currently is.
So a couple of things. So you're right. I think maybe that's a goal that we start to look at. Can we look at this piece of property? Can we really pay some in-depth attention and see what's available to try to obtain that piece of property? Because look where it fits. It fits with our town. If our town center is going to go anywhere, that could be a big piece of it. And
Doubles the size.
if not our town center, it's got side street on one portion of it. If not our town center, it's right on West Deerfield. It could be potential industrial. That's a big piece of property that could have significant value in terms of development. The other thing to look at, going back to one of the goals that we had is, and I remember rejecting this years ago. I think it was something, anyway, I remember the board rejected it, that doctor's property. Whatever happened to that? Who has that piece of property?
The Vickery Doctor Park?
Yeah, no, well, we have the small park, but there was the.
Where
big
the
piece.
house was, and there were several acres, but
Yeah.
it was expensive.
The guy that lives on the end of Sunset Beach Lane now owns that.
Oh, he does.
Drawing a blanket. His house burnt down.
Madison. Madigan.
Madigan.
It was 310,000, I think they wanted for it.
A long time ago.
Right, the house and the property, so it'd be much more now. Okay. So I think that's, given the location, maybe that's gotta be should be one of our priorities to establish can we get that mitigated to utilize that piece of property?
Which, the one across from,
The Deerfield, this piece
That
right here
piece.
that they have highlighted. Because look where it fits. Could mean a lot to our downtown.
Fire station's right over here.
So is the objective is to explore the feasibility of expanding our city center to the east?
I think it gives us two opportunities. If we can mitigate that land, it gives us an opportunity to put in, a great location for potential
We've talked about it before.
additional industrial
never went.
along West Deerfield.
Well, the people,
But it also gives us that on Side Street, building on, have I ever seen that right?
That's kind of weird.
Adding on to our city center. It's a big piece of property.
The railroad track, yes. It's right here, right there.
Okay,
Now you go underneath. That's a weird intersection.
Okay.
yeah, I think this is exactly what the comprehensive plan conversations, the comprehensive plan should stimulate.
Highlighting areas like that, right? When we already talked about expanding sewer and water to a significant area. We have the area behind Chambers Hill, which is, and next to, on the other side of Velp, for potential expansion of sewer and water development. So really to look at those in this area, and maybe there's a few others that we're missing, to see, do we have any possibility? Have we exhausted all the possibilities in this? And then, if so, we do a return on investment calculation with it. What's the property worth if it's developed? What's the mitigation cost? What's the impact of adding additional homes, sewer, and water? Not to this, but other properties.
I wanted to just go back to a comment that trustee Stevens had made earlier where we've obviously identified some areas now for the business and industrial expansion, but to his point, it's more residential opportunities. So do we need to add something on our objectives that identifies that? Or is that not an appropriate addition to that section?
I don't think that's economic development.
Okay, okay.
Does show up in housing though.
Chapter
If you,
5.
if you read the housing, that's what would show up.
Oh, all right, okay,
Yep.
thank you. I didn't want to lose sight of that.
I'd like to get a good understanding for exactly how limited we are with regard to industrial development. I got a pretty good idea that, as has been said, we don't have a lot of areas left for the, very few. And if it is that few, then when we go into the comprehensive plan and we as a board are making decisions, we're gonna have to get rid of some of this stuff, because it just doesn't make sense. We can't do it.
Or,
True industrial land is gonna be difficult because they all want sewer involved.
Right.
For true industrial land. Some of the smaller commercials, you know, Ken Sports is doing fine with septic systems. They don't have a high use. If you're, you know, Winona Foods couldn't survive without sewer. You know, Saputo couldn't survive without sewer. They have too big of volumes to ever
Let me
make
throw-
septic work.
let me throw some optimism on you here. I think we should keep it in there, because if we didn't have it in here, would we have had this conversation?
And we'd be all home by now.
That's right. I think we should keep it in there, and I think this is a good thing to do periodically.
Okay, so we've discussed some of these, so be it where we're at with time. Do we want to, in our next board meeting, tackle recommendations beginning on page 99 and page 100, or move on to something else? To me, there is some redundancy,
Yeah,
there is.
a lot, actually.
so do we feel, does staff feel like you've got some direction on this, or do we need to really settle down and go through these recommendations as well?
I think this is a great conversation, and this is kind of a big deal. This is going to impact the next decade. I think it's worth the board going through this practice. Maybe you table it until the next meeting if you feel like maybe we're not as sharp at this time.
Well, I think we've had a lot of discussions and thrown a lot of things out there. Let's table this and come back, and let's go through the recommendations, just for discussion purposes. We can use, if somebody has a better process, we can use a different process, but otherwise, we can do the,
Seems to be working.
Yeah, I like the roundtable process.
Okay.
I think it gets a lot of thoughts out.
let's do the same process, next meeting with recommendations, and then maybe we have some suggestions on if staff needs direction in other areas or feels there's other chapters they'd like us to look at, we can do that as well in future meetings.
Do you need a motion to table the recommendations section until the next board meeting?
Nope.
Okay.
So if I were just to we're looking to discuss recommendations for the business and industrial
99.
development?
All the recommendations that are there, that include business, and it'll
Are
actually be a
you
good
on-
way to bounce against what we've already discussed.
99 and
A lot of
100?
them
On
are
page
very
9,
similar.
on pages 99 and 100.
Yep, pages 99 and
Do
100.
do you think we should consider page 102 because of the conversation we just got in about housing?
I would like to do that.
I feel like we should include housing.
Yep.
I think in that whole chapter 5, we should include.
We might be
Yep.
biting off a lot for one meeting, but I mean,
Well,
maybe,
it
Yeah.
doesn't- we could table it again.
Right,
How about 99 and 100 for next time, and then,
Yeah.
And then we'll move
yeah,
on.
because I think that'll eat up a lot of time.
That works for me.
okay.
it's like a cranky.
I think the next one, 9900, is
Cranky
going to go
when I'm
quick,
tired.
because there's
we've
a lot of
already-
redundancy.
Who doesn't?
And then maybe we can look at housing in addition to that if we have time.
I don't know if we'd actually have to spend too much time on it. I just think it's important that we review it.
Oh, I think we're all in
All right.
agreement to talk about housing too.
Yep. 99 and 100, and then we'll move on to housing and have some discussions on housing.
For the next meeting, or are you going to, housing's the following meeting?
Next meeting,
Okay.
keep housing on there. If we don't get to it all, and
We'll just table it.
we'll table it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
You don't know how loaded up Alex is going to make our next agenda. You know,
I'll be really relaxed.
Could be this
Don't worry
thick.
about it.
Okay, anybody else? All right, so that is the planning commission items, item number 8. Item number 9, discussion on future agenda items. Anyone have anything nagging at them for discussion as a future agenda item? No? All right, then I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Trustee Romas has offered a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting, and that was seconded by trustee McKeever. Thank you for a great discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
I'm not even working yet. I don't know. I should